North Central prepares for a top 10 showdown this weekend after taking out St. Norbert College 51-17 in De Pere, Wisconsin last Saturday. We'll relive the ups and downs of NCC's first win of 2014 and preview the upcoming matchup with 7th-ranked Wisconsin-Platteville right now on the Red Zone. Welcome inside the Red Zone. I'm your new host, Zach Roth. I'm thrilled to join the program and introduce North Central College football coach, John Thorne. Coach, great to have you on the show. Great to get this season started.
Thanks, Zach. It's good to be here.
All right, so first week, long road trip to St. Norbert, 51-17 victory. Let's just chat about the action there. What did you see out of your team in game one?
Well, I thought St. Norbert played a really, really good first quarter, especially. They were fired up. They executed extremely well. We had those first game mistakes that we needed to work through, and so it was pretty exciting, but a little scary because we were behind 10-0 for a while. But then the guys really adjusted. The coaches made some really nice changes on offense and defense to do some things we needed to get done better, and so it turned out okay.
Well, let's take a closer look at how the Cardinals managed to run away from St. Norbert in their season opener. Here are the highlights.
New season, new man under center for the Cardinals. Dylan Warden getting his first career start on the road at St. Norbert. Wideout Peter Sorenson returns well established in the NCC record books. St. Norbert driving already up 3-0 in the first. Running back Elijah Fort lowers his head and plows into the red zone. Next play, James Tringali finds Reeves with a lot of vacant end zone. Cards facing a 10-point deficit early. NCC going for it here on 4th and 9. Warden gets enough time to connect with Sorenson across the middle. He sheds a few green knights and takes it inside the 5. This next play might look familiar. The Sorenson back shoulder touchdown making its first appearance of 2014, now a 10-6 ball game. Second down play on the following possession. Another Tringali rollout toss and another touchdown for Reeves. St. Norbert now up 11. Warden lets Sorenson do the running here. NCC's star receiver gets behind a couple of defenders. He'll trot in for another score. Warden and Sorenson mirroring their first touchdown of the game. 20-17 Cardinals up. First down play on St. Norbert's next drive, Tringali loses the grip before he can throw, and Steve Laramitis might need to write him a thank you card or something after this one. Opportunistic scoop and score gives NCC a 27-17 halftime edge. Cardinal running backs break this open in the third. First it's Matt Randolph bouncing outside and finding some end zone. Later in the frame, Captain Ryan Kent scores on a 4th down plunge. Cards run off 45 unanswered points to overcome the slow start.
All right, Coach, so you talked about the slow start. What did you see change after the team got down 17-6, and it seemed like the entire team, offense, defense, special teams, everyone turned it around at about the same time?
Yeah, there's always a few key plays that, need to happen. I thought Chris Chacon made a really great tackle on our kickoff team, and so after that score and getting that momentum of a big tackle, we started getting some pressure on the quarterback. Everybody on defense was starting to see their keys much more clearly, and so they got some yards in the first half, but when it was all said and done, they got almost no yards at all in the second half. And so the defensive guy just did some great things. And on offense, we were getting on the blocks, but we weren't staying on them. And so the holes were closing just as the running back was getting into the hole and things like that. So once some of that started coming around and the running backs were starting to get some great holes to look at and make some great runs, then the passing game just kept getting better and better all the time too. So the young quarterback, Dylan, that's always a tough thing when your first game of quarterback, and he just got more and more comfortable as the game went along, and I'm sure guys like Peter were talking to him and helping him get that way, You need that senior leadership, and Ryan Kent, and at the line of scrimmage, I think Eric Naperville does a great job of getting our offensive linemen to all, just calm down a little bit, go back to fundamentals, make sure we're doing the right thing. And so it was really fun to watch us start playing Cardinal football.
You mentioned the defense being outstanding in the second half. In the first for the Green Knights, it was really their quarterback, James Tringali, that connection with Zach Reeves. That was their 2 touchdowns. That's where the big plays came from. How did you guys shut down that specific combo?
Well, it wasn't anything that we needed to do for that specific part of it. Both touchdowns were broken coverage, and just getting that straightened out helped a lot. So he's a really good receiver, but he was in all kinds of different zones, and we were in zone most of the time. So several different guys had to be aware, when he got into that area. And the quarterback got a little bit of extra pressure. Our defensive front did a great job. He got the ball out a little bit too quick 2 or 3 times when the receiver wasn't even ready for the ball. So it's a combination. It all starts at the line of scrimmage. If they can get pressure, makes the back half a whole lot easier. But if you're in the back half and you totally run the wrong way, no defensive coverage works very well.
And I know in this particular game, St. Norbert is a playoff team from last year. They're not a cupcake, and you run off 45 unanswered against them. A lot of that with the second team in. What does that do for the team's confidence, for the swagger of the team going into week 2?
Well, we try to focus one game at a time, and I know when we fell behind early, the guys they don't get rattled. They're really confident that if we stay with the game plan. That's a very, very normal, very, very typical first game experience for a lot of them. So hopefully we're going to come out playing faster right away in the first quarter on Saturday.
Well, we'll get to that after the break. When we return, we'll discuss the weekend's home opener against Wisconsin-Platteville. Stick with us.
Ready? Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Welcome back inside the Red Zone. We continue the conversation with head coach John Thorne. So, Coach, this weekend, one of the best matchups you'll probably see across D3 football all season against Wisconsin-Platteville. Initial thoughts on what you've seen from them so far this year?
Well, fortunately, we got to play them in the playoffs last year, so we know a little bit about them, but they also know plenty about us, and they have a lot of film from us because last year we played 4 teams in their conference. And so we know the game will be a lot different than it was last year. They have a lot of returners. They've got good size. They've got very good speed. They're very well coached. So we're really excited. This is the kind of game you just always want to have as a coach and as a player, So we're looking forward to it. We know it's going to be a really, really huge battle. We've got to clean up a lot of the mistakes that showed up on film from game 1. And usually there is a big change between game 1 and game 2. Hopefully it's going to be enough of a change so that we're ready to play great football.
Now, there's a little bit of a catch-22 with the familiarity. You know this team, a lot of returning players from last year, a lot of big contributors. But as you said, they know you. How do you game plan around the fact that they're pretty familiar with how things operate on the North Central side?
Well, we're a little bit different because we did graduate a lot more guys than they did. Whether that'll turn out to be a good thing or a bad thing for us or for them, we'll have to wait and see. But certainly they understand the system that we'd like to run, and so they'll have a different game plan than they had coming in last year, and we just have to be ready to sort that out in a hurry and not let too many plays go by before we figure out what they're really trying to do.
How much of that game plan do you think is directed around, we got to stop Ryan Kent? Because last year, just looking at the numbers, Kent went completely off, 4 touchdowns, incredible yardage total. He was averaging something around 9.5 yards a carry. How do you stop that? Or don't tell him everything. We don't want him to know exactly how to stop it.
Well, I certainly think that they will focus a lot more to stop the run than what happened last year. We have a new quarterback, so I think they'll feel confident that if they, do more against the run, that maybe he'll have trouble, hitting the open people. So we'll have to see to be sure. But we have some new offensive linemen, so whether we'll be able to block them as well as we did last year or not, we'll have to wait and see. But our linemen are very, very excited about getting a chance to play against a team that's this good. And so I think it'll bring the best out in us. Hopefully it'll be good enough. I mean, they're a good program.
And you mentioned how your roster has a lot of new faces on it this season, and a couple of those players joined the Cardinals with impressive off-the-field experience. Let's get to know the military veterans on this year's team in this week's Cardinal Corner.
Freshman linebacker Justin Sturzma isn't taking long to make an impact on the Cardinal program. Sturzma had 5 tackles in his debut game and nearly had a pick 6 on this play. A penalty negated the touchdown, and he was credited with a 48-yard interception return. He's new to the program, but the term freshman is a bit misleading. Sturzma is 25 years old and a veteran of the United States Army.
It's a little different, but I'm enjoying it. They mostly treat me more as an older guy, not as like a newcomer freshman, but they still like to goof around and joke with me. And I'm just here to learn the ropes, man. Just listen to the seniors and learn how to play football.
Sturzma played football at Chicago Christian High School, but his senior season was in 2006. 8 years removed from his last tackle football experience, Sturzma admits he felt a little nervous.
It was like a surreal feeling to play again. Just went out there with a smile, but it felt good to be out there. I'm not going to lie, it felt great to be playing, get contact in there, and then, I made an interception, which was, a little icing on the cake.
Sturzma is one of 2 veterans on this year's roster, along with sophomore defensive lineman Chaz Nichols, a 31-year-old Marine vet. Sturzma rose to sergeant during his time in the Army, and his decision to return to football was heavily influenced by advice he received while serving.
I played a little bit in the Army, a little flag football here and there, and people said, if you have the chance to play again, go for it. You're going to get a second chance. You're going to get another opportunity. And then when I was looking at coming to North Central, I already had a familiar with the North Central football program, so I was like, I'm going to go for it.
Military experience gives players like Sturzma a unique perspective on the game, one that he says will benefit him a lot during his freshman campaign.
It helps me remain a little more calm, a little more disciplined in that aspect. And I know that it's always going to get better, things get tough.
All right, Coach, so who else out of the new players on the team has stood out in your mind so far?
Well, a lot of guys really did some great things. We had a freshman receiver that came in and made a couple of nice catches in Ryan Cool. But DeMarco Tillman really had a terrific game with 7 catches. And he was blocking so much better than he did last year, which was great to see, And then Colton Kaczynski coming back from, he had knee surgery from the winter, playing basketball and so forth, and he played really well on special teams and at tight end. And then on the defensive side, having Nick Samuelson move in to be the first time to really be a starter in the middle, linebacker position and so forth, and he came through with a really great game. Brad Kuchenbecker is really a true freshman in football terms because he was injured, couldn't play last year. And he was like our second or third leading tackler. But unfortunately, he injured a knee, and we don't know yet whether he's going to be ready to play, this coming week or in the future. But it was really great to see him do what he did.
All right, Coach. Well, hopefully everyone heals up in time and you get some more big contributions from the new standouts on the team going into this matchup on Saturday. Thanks for stopping by. We're happy to have you here again for 2014.
That's great, Zach. Thank you. Good luck to the team, and good luck to the station here. We really enjoy the Red Zone.
And we enjoy the Cardinals as well. After the break, we'll chat with two Cardinals who played key roles in the Week 1 victory. More Red Zone after this.
Hi, my name's CJ. A few years ago, my father became seriously ill. I did what I could do before he passed, but it took its toll. I lost my job, my house. I'm getting back on my feet, but I don't know when there'll be food on the table. How'd I do, CJ?
We could be twins.
Well, cousins, maybe.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
We're back here in the Red Zone. Joining the set now, two Cardinal standouts, senior wide receiver Peter Sorenson and junior linebacker Nick Samuelson. Guys, great to have you on. Great to see the team perform so well in Week 1.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Peter, starting with you, the offense and really the team as a whole got off to a slow start. And when things go bad, the offense goes to Peter Sorenson. 3 touchdowns in the first half. You're really a big part of helping turn the game around early. What was working so well in that connection between you and Dylan?
Well, I think to start off, we had some early jitters. We were breaking in a lot of new starters. Obviously, Dylan was his first start, and guys were just kind of nervous. They came out with a lot of energy, and we weren't able to match it. We just kind of went 3 and out, and that kind of lost our energy. But we were able to, just stay confident with our game plan. We didn't change anything up. We knew, even when we were down 11, that if we kept doing our stuff, it would turn, and we'd start doing well. And in terms of what was working between Dylan and I, we just got some good matchups. We got some one-on-one stuff that really worked. And if we feel like if we have a one-on-one matchup, that's advantageous to us. And Dylan made some good throws, made some really good reads, and he played great. We just kind of stuck to what we were doing, and everything started going well after the early struggle.
And Nick, on the defensive side of the ball, around the same time, I'd say a few minutes into the second half, they go up 17-6, and from that point onward, nothing on offense for the Green Knights. What changed for your unit?
I think, kind of like Pete was saying, just get those first-time jitters out of the way. We had some younger guys on defense that had to step up, it was their first time playing. And I think everybody did a great job after, got those first couple drives out of the way. And like you said, from then on, it was a lot better.
And let's see what your teammates had to say. Sophomore quarterback Dylan Warden's debut was a hot topic after the win at St. Norbert. Let's see what he and some other Cardinals thought about the performance in this week's What's the Word?
Just talking to Coach, he was like, look to your highlight players, look to Pete, look to DeMarco, look to the people who are going to make plays. Get the ball to Ryan Kent, just go with the flow. You don't have to do it all yourself. So, yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking at first, definitely, because Coach was talking to me. He goes, you got to start making plays, or we're going to have to make some switches. So, went out there and tried to execute the offense.
It's not like we're working on a new quarterback. I mean, he played last year. He's a phenomenal kid. He learns quick. He's an athlete. It's just like playing with Special Static last year. I mean, they can move, they make plays, and we work together, and definitely the line definitely helped him out. Our line is wonderful. We love our linemen.
You know what? We weren't really too worried. We knew that whether it was going to be Dylan Warden or Tyler Dickin, that they were going to do well. Obviously, they had the first game jitters too a little bit in the beginning, but once we got rolling, they were doing well, and I think they're going to do well for us all this year.
All right, so we've heard from a couple other Cardinals. You already mentioned Dylan earlier, but to be a sophomore in a stage like this, you're going on the road 3.5 hours to a team that made it to playoffs. They won their conference last year. How much of a pressure cooker is that to be thrown into in just your second year in the program?
Yeah, it's got to be a lot. I was talking to him after the game, after things kind of settled down. He said there were a little bit of nerves, which is to be expected. I mean, first start, I think we were all kind of nervous, kind of jittery. But he did a great job of just staying calm and sticking to what he does, what he's really good at. The reads, he was making good reads, and he just kind of fine-tuned his mechanics and got the balls, catchable, and he played great. He was dynamic in the run game. He's been a great athlete, and he's worked really hard on his passing reads and on his mechanics, and he made some great throws. He was at 70% completion, I saw, and I mean that's awesome. He's a really good player, and I think you just scratch the surface of what he can do.
And Nick, what first-time defensive player, first-time starter, do you think had the biggest impact on that game?
I think our defensive lineman coming back, Peter Mann, obviously was able to play again for us this year. And I think transfer Jimmy Pelnar, she had a really good game and was really firing off the ball and helped us get some pressure on the quarterback.
So this week, looking on the schedule, and I know things can change a lot, but definitely going to be at least one of the toughest games of the season, I think. You're familiar with this team. Mm-hmm. They're very familiar with Ryan Kent. Just tell me a little bit about, first Peter and then Nick, you can add on afterwards, what you think about this matchup this week and how big it matters in the scope of the season.
Yeah, I mean, every game is important, especially that next game. We have a 1-0 mentality every week. We just, no matter who the opponent is we're playing that week, all our focus goes to them. So it's an important game in the fact that it's this game. So Platteville is a great team. They're ranked 7th in the nation, and that's deserved. We played them last year in the playoffs, and we played a good game. So we know they're going to be hungry. They're going to be firing, and it's going to be a great test. They're fantastic on offense. They're really good on defense. They've got some great players. But we're excited. We're ready to go. We're up for the challenge. We haven't really gotten into the game plan that much this week. It's still early, but coaches always get an awesome game plan going for us, and we're just excited. We're a team that really loves competition. We want to play the best teams in the country every week. So we get an opportunity to do that this week, and I think we'll be up for the challenge.
And Nick, their quarterback, 5 touchdowns, their quarterback Corrigan, 5 touchdowns, no picks so far. The run game is averaging over 9 yards a carry. Really limited mistakes. How do you force a team like that to play a little sloppier than usual?
Well, I think kind of taking them out of their game, getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. As Coach Thorne mentioned, they have 5 returners on their offensive line. So it's going to be a little bit difficult, but I think our guys up front will get it done. So yeah, I'm excited. I think just kind of taking them out of their game and sticking to what we do, and kind of like Pete said, having that one-game mentality will really help us.
And Nick, what's it going to be like to finally, I'm sure it felt like an eternity since that last game, to be back at Benedetti Worley for such a huge event?
Yeah, it'll feel amazing. It'll feel great. A lot of people will be there, and it'll be a good time.
Right, I want to thank you both for stopping by. Congrats again on the great win in Week 1, and we're hoping for another W in Week 2. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. We're not done yet. After a short timeout, we'll welcome in Sports Information Director Clark Tuscher and check in with some of the other NCC fall sports.
Today is Saturday. 60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas. Get involved. Get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
Welcome back inside the Red Zone. North Central Sports Information Director Clark Tuscher is here to tell us more about the other sports activity going on at NCC. Clark, great to have you back for Week 1 of the show.
It's good to be back. Thank you.
I can imagine this first set of weeks is pretty hectic for the Sports Information Department. What have you seen that stood out to you from the fall sports, especially women's volleyball? Great start.
I think in terms of recruiting, this year's incoming class has really had an impact already just in the first few weeks across the board, really. You talk about volleyball, there's several new players in the lineup, a lot of freshmen seeing a lot of regular time. For some teams, they might be concerned about that, but in their case, it's caused the level of play to raise up. I think working with the coaches in the admissions office, they've been able to put together an outstanding class of recruits this year.
And for a team like volleyball, it's been an up and down kind of program. After last year, only 12 wins on the whole season. They already have 11 wins this season. They're one win away from that total. What have you noticed that's different? I mean, a lot of new faces can change things, but there's also a lot of returning players on the squad.
They're a lot more solid defensively. I think this year they, from the back up to the middle blockers, I think they've got experience in those areas that's helping out a lot. And then you have, your incoming players on, the outside hitters and things like that you can kind of do on talent and then learn kind of the rest of it as you go. When you've got a great setter that's able to put your attackers in position to strike the ball, that's always going to be an advantage. And with a returning setter like Laura Klug, who's on pace to have a lot of the records for assists at North Central, that definitely sets the table for some great opportunities on offense.
I think another program that had an outstanding weekend, the women's tennis squad. They're riding a 4-match win streak right now. I think 3 of those against CCIW opponents, and 3 of them were sweeps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really haven't played the top teams in the conference yet, but to get those kind of decisive victories, again, playing a lot of young players, they only have 1 senior on the team, it puts them in position to get into the conference tournament this fall and get one of those top 4 finishes for the AQ tournament in the spring, which is really kind of their goal here in these next couple of weeks.
And another program that we typically know is going to be near the top of the CCIW every year just because they've won it 40 years in a row. Men's cross country, Carius's group is always going to be good. But what they did this weekend, split squad action at ISU and also at Olivet Nazarene, seems to bode pretty well for the next couple months.
Yeah, the Illinois State meet has turned into an all-Division I meet that North Central still gets invited to just because of their competitive level. So even just being able to go down there and compete says a lot about where the program is. They took the top guys down there, the top 7 or 8, and finished within 10 points of winning the meet against several top schools. The University of Iowa won the meet. They're a team that's going to have a chance to be at the Division I National Championships this year. And then running the rest of the team at the Illinois Intercollegiate Invitational, which was about a 14-team meet with a lot more of the teams that we might see a little more often. So some other guys had a chance to run near the front of the pack and contend and be counted on to help the team finish well. It's a team that we have a junior named Troy Kelleher, who's a returning All-American, was an All-American in 10,000 meters last spring. He's kind of emerged as the number 1 runner and one of the guys that they can always count on to be near the front of the pack. But the rest of the group, it has a chance to interchange a little bit. They're looking for a little more consistency out of some of the younger guys, and trying to manage, keep guys healthy, not over race, not overtrain, so everybody's ready for the regional and national meets in November.
Well, Clark, I want to thank you for stopping by again to start this season. I'll look forward to seeing you at the game on Saturday.
Sounds good.
As a reminder, very big matchup this weekend for the football home opener. On Saturday, the Cardinals return to Benedetti-Worley to host 7th-ranked Wisconsin-Platteville. That game begins at 6 p.m. and will be broadcast live right here on NCTV 17 and NCTV17.com. We hope you join us again on game day. Thanks for stepping inside the red zone. I'm Zach Groth. We'll see you again next week.